It was in February, early cold February, when we drove up that long, winding road. In a town in Kentucky, a not so small of a town, actually large enough to be a city, the city of Louisville, Kentucky, home to the most famous wooden baseball bats in the world, the Kentucky Derby, and the origin of 1/3 of the world's bourbon and whiskey. On a hill just off Interstate 65 South is another famous Kentucky landmark, one most normal people would never consider visiting. But I'm not just another normal person. I am the co-founder and lead investigator of the Hoosier Paranormal Society. I am a paranormal investigator. I am a ghost hunter. That hillside is considered Mecca to those in our profession. That hillside is home to Waverly Hills Sanatorium, considered one of the most haunted locations in the United States. My team and I spent the night there. Built to originally house 40 to 50 tuberculosis patients, at its peak, Waverly was actually home to over 500 patients at one time. Sprung across the hillside with housing for staff, schools for the children, a fire department, its own post office, laundry, and gardens for those patients well enough to work in them. Medical and other staff that came to work there would live, and many of them die there, as they were not allowed to leave the seclusion of Waverly for fear of taking TB out into the public. Young single doctors and nurses met there, fell in love, got married, raised their children there, and if they contracted the disease they were fighting so hard to beat, they died there. It is believed that many of the some 63,000 souls that were lost on that hillside are still there. After spending a couple of hours with staff members of Waverly getting the layout of the hospital and some of its incredible history, it was time to either prove the story's true or just a bunch of hype. With video and digital still cameras in hand, motion detectors, digital audio recorders, and temperature meters and gauges to measure electronic magnetic field saturation, and flashlights to light our way, we headed out. We went through the darkened hallways, patient rooms, treatment rooms, the dining service areas, and yes, even the morgue. We started our investigation. Our first stop is the body chute, or the death tunnel. Almost 500 feet long with no lights except what comes through the occasional air vents in the ceiling, both the stairs and the ramp that the bodies were lowered down on are built at a 45-degree angle. At one time, we are told, Waverly was losing a patient to TB every 60 minutes. Our legs and calves are screaming from the exercise of trying to walk back up. We begin to run video and take still photos, and there they are. Orbs have been described by those investigators like us as the attempts of spirits to materialize and show themselves to the still living. Small or large, white, round lights that will not be in the first picture you take, but appear in the same setting in the second picture, only to disappear or move in yet the third photo. Could it be the spirits are trying to make first contact with us? The air suddenly grows extremely cold around us, and our flashlights begin to dim, although we put brand new batteries in them earlier that evening.
Is your flashlight? We put new batteries in these before we started, didn't we?
Are the spirits gathering strength? We will capture one of a ghost hunter's dreams this evening, a Class A EVP, which stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon. They have spoken to us. We recorded a message that night. We believe they are tired of all the strangers walking through their home all night long and have now told us to go away. Listen carefully.
I can only imagine how aggravating it is for us to be tromping through their house all night long.
Yeah, they're probably not going to be real thrilled with us.
But we will not hear that message until the next morning while downloading the video and audio onto our computers for analysis. Nor will we have the very rare privilege of seeing a full-bodied formation or apparition of some of the patients that others have claimed to have seen. They are very rare, and perhaps during our next visit to Waverly this spring, we will finally be honored with one. We are in the electroshock therapy room now, and I'm sitting on the wooden treatment table. It's difficult to believe tuberculosis was first believed to have been a mental disorder that could have been cured with shock therapy and lobotomies. The air grows strangely cold again. My thermometer is now reading 23 degrees in a room that just seconds earlier had measured 40 degrees. We have had an interesting but fairly uneventful night compared to other investigations we have conducted. But we have been to Mecca, the ghost hunters' holy ground. We have seen and heard things we cannot explain or debunk away. We will return here again and again to try and find the answers to those things that, while they scare us so, we cannot leave them unanswered. I am a ghost hunter, and I'm trying to explain what is perhaps the unexplainable. I can only hope they, the spirits, will help me to understand and teach me, and that I am brave enough to get the message.